It was so nice and warm. It was so like the warmest part. So I was like, my hands are in my fingers.
I was like, where is the story going?
Right in.
I'm camping out for next year.
Hey, Patty, can you hear us? Patty, are you able to hear us? I hope you can.
I am, thank you. I'm just back on.
Cool. You can hear everything okay?
Can you hear me?
Great.
I can, thank you. And I can see you now, thank you.
There we go.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Matt, you good? Yep. All right. So with that, we will call our meeting to order. I thought you just popped up. You were ready to go. You might as well remain standing. So welcome everybody to the Monday, February 10th, St. Charles County Council meeting. We will start with our invocation, which is from Carissa Figgins from Harvester Christian Church in St. Charles, and our Pledge of Allegiance is led by Councilman Matt Swanson. If you would please rise and remove your hats. Welcome.
Thank you. If you're comfortable, if you'll bow your heads with me. Hey God, we come before you today with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community. Thank you for the blessings of St. Charles County, its people, and the responsibility entrusted to this council. Grant wisdom and discernment to our leaders as they make decisions that impact the lives of those they serve. May their choices reflect justice, integrity, and a heart for the common good. Grant them the willingness to listen and to listen with understanding, speak with kindness, and act with courage. We pray for all the residents of St. Charles County, for the housed and the unhoused, for the fortunate and the unfortunate, for the rich and the poor, for their safety, well-being, and prosperity. May our community be a place of unity and diversity and compassion and equity and love and inclusivity and opportunity for all. Lord, guide this meeting with your presence. May the discussions be productive and the debates be respectful and the outcomes be beneficial for our county. Let all that is said and done here bring honor to you and serve the people as well. And it's in your holy name that we pray. Amen.
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 To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Carissa. Please call the roll.
Councilman Swanson.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel. Councilman Hammond.
Here.
Councilman Elam.
Here.
Councilman Hollander.
Here.
Councilwoman York.
Here,
Councilman Baker.
Here.
Obviously, Councilwoman York is overhead playing Voice of God for us tonight, so there's a little bit of a delay that we're going to be working with. So we just ask for your patience on that. First item tonight is Bill number 5365, Conditional Use Permit, and I would invite Robert to come up.
I'll now read the title. Bill number 5365, an ordinance granting conditional use permit CUP 24-08 for an automobile storage yard to KLB Holdings LLC property owner and JNI Hauling LLC applicant. Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Hi, my name is Robert Myers. I'm the Planning Zoning Division Director for St. Charles County. This is one of those cases where it's a seemingly very straightforward application, which I'll summarize briefly. At 1335 Charlestown Industrial Drive, as you may know, that's in Charlestown Industrial Park near Old Highway 94, and it's practically, this parcel is practically surrounded by the city of St. Charles and is located within the middle of the industrial park. The site is about 3/4 of an acre. It's already developed. There's a building already there, a small warehouse. The property's already paved. The proposal is to operate an automobile storage yard for 40 vehicles. It already has a fence around the property and screening. Again, it's in the middle of the industrial park. The improvements that they're talking about are let's see, improving the office, improving the pavement, putting in some trees, and that's mainly the improvements that are being discussed. The use is for storage of automobiles. There will be an auction periodically, as I understand it, an online auction, and people are probably going to only come like one day before the auction takes place to maybe look at the vehicles. There's only 2 employees proposed for this site. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this at their January 15th meeting. There were no people speaking in opposition or in favor other than the applicant. There's no letters of opposition or concern on file. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended 7 in favor and none against.
Any questions for Robert about this? Yes, sir.
Total number of vehicles that will be stored,
About 40.
and that will be ongoing as they do the auctions from the government seizures.
The applicant, Jeremy Rowan's here tonight. He can explain more about their operations. But yeah, I'd say the proposal is to have up to 40 parking spaces on this existing parcel, and they would change out as they sell more of these vehicles.
And are you the applicant?
He is.
If you want to come on up, just a couple other quick questions.
Hang
So,
on. Hold on.
oh yeah, swearing in.
You kind of jumped ahead of me. I was going to see if
Oh.
anybody else had questions for Robert. I'm assuming not. So with Patty, do you have any questions for Robert?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
All right. So with that, we'll have the applicant come up and swear in.
Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You want to introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, my name is Jeremy Rowan, manager at J&I Hauling.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it before Mr. Swanson
Sure.
lights you
Maybe-
up with questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal is here, we've had a contract with the federal government to store and maintain vehicles that have been seized for them for about 6 years. Recently moving into the property on Charlestown Industrial Drive. So the inventory does kind of fluctuate. We're looking for a max capacity of 40 cars at this lot. I think currently the outside storage that I have is right about 20 vehicles in my custody at this time. As Robert stated, it's not open to the public. There are no physical auctions held at the site. Everything is auctioned off online when it is auctioned off. At that point, there is one day, usually the Friday prior to the auction closing, that they do open up to the public, but it's by appointment only for them to come up and inspect the vehicles that are on the auction. Very rarely does anybody actually come up and do the public viewing. It's mainly just pictures that they see online and phone conversations between myself and the potential buyers of the vehicles. The 6 years that we've had the contract, there's been no issues with, I guess, people trying to get their vehicles back, break in. There's been 0 issues with that whatsoever.
If I
Yes,
may.
sir.
So how long are you I mean, is this going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years out, what you're looking at?
I would say potentially as long as we have the contract. The company that actually holds the contract, we're a subcontractor for a company out of Houston, Texas that is Apple Towing. They actually hold the nationwide contract. We are a subcontractor with them for this part of the country. Speaking with those guys, they have never lost a contract, and they have been doing it for years for the federal government.
Thank you. That was my only questions I had with regards to that.
Okay. Do you have questions? Anybody else have questions for the applicant? Seeing none, we'll invite you to have a seat for a second while we do an open testimony.
Thank you.
And then we'll bring you back up
All
if
right.
anyone has questions. So with that, we will open it up for anyone who wishes to speak on this topic, and I'm assuming that means Mr. Dienoff is joining us.
Arnie Dina.
I saw you stand up. That was my clue.
Might as well save a little time, right?
There you go.
Mr. Dinoff, do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the, I was going to say commission, members of the county council. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate. Unfortunately, I believe I was in Jefferson City on December 18th of this year and missed the Planning and Zoning Commission for public testimony. The storage of vehicles, it could be a dicey situation. You could get a mixed bag of vehicles. Some might be newer, some might be in disrepair, some might be in breakdown condition and cause some detriment to the general public safety and welfare of the community. Now, this area is in a floodplain. As we all know, it's on the northern part of the city of St. Charles, but it's an unincorporated St. Charles County. It's in the unincorporated county part, but it abuts, I believe, on 3 sides by the city of St. Charles. The city of St. Charles, as you all may be familiar, you might not be familiar, have a waterhead well ordinance. And that waterhead well ordinance is in place to combat contamination. Contamination of Ameren UE on the north side of St. Charles near Newtown, in some other locations off of 370. They don't want to make sure that uses or conditional use purposes that they uses that they don't contaminate the drinking water from the city's well system. So that's of concern on the north side because it is so close to where they do have intakes for their water system.
Ernie, I think you got the location wrong.
Yeah,
Is it an off of-
Harvester.
This is over off Prowley in 94.
I thought this was the one off of Missouri 94.
No, this is Harvester.
Sorry, my mistake.
That's what I was with you.
I don't think we got a well.
Okay, so we're talking about down in Harvester. My mistake. We just went through one off of 94 also. So a couple conditions that I'd like the council to look at are my usual conditions for automobiles related businesses. The first condition would be that no derelict, unlicensed, or crashed vehicles be allowed to be stored more than 45 days on the property. That no damaged vehicles be allowed to be stored on the property. That no repairs happen on the property. That there be no storage of barrels, chemicals, or any such items with the automobile industry. Otherwise, it seems like it's a pretty, they've got a federal contract for issues that are in court. It sounds like a lot of these cars are probably going to remain at that site for probably at least a year to 2 years before it goes to adjudication. As we all know, the court systems move very slowly, especially the federal court system, so it's going to be there for a while. I'm not opposed to this conditional use permit. However, I do have one question with the runoff. And we do have runoff issues, and we want to make sure the contaminants of chemicals, if some of these vehicles may be leaking coolant, transmission fluid, oil, what is the plan or the modification for compliance with M4 state and county regulations? We want to make sure that any runoff to adjoining properties doesn't contaminate surface water or contaminate creeks in the area, which leads to our drinking water someplace. And so those are my questions that I have, but otherwise I don't have any opposition to this application.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Dino? Seeing none, thank you, sir, for your time. I'd ask the applicant to come back up. I don't know if there's anything you want to add. Obviously, we clarified the location.
Correct. So as far as the vehicles, unfortunately, I don't have a specific time frame when each vehicle is there. For the most part, these vehicles are all in running condition. They're not wrecked. It's not a police impound yard. All of the vehicles are maintained, but there's not actually maintenance performed. When I say maintained, go out and start the vehicles at a minimum of once a month, let them run for a little bit. No major repairs of any type are done on site. The closest thing to repair would be airing up a tire, maybe changing a battery in a car that is going up on auction that the government would like changed, but no repairs. So there's no storage of any waste oil, no barrels of chemicals or anything other than just general car wash supplies and maybe a couple quarts of oil and a gallon or two of antifreeze at the location.
Anyone have questions for the applicant? With none, I thank you, sir, for your time. That'll close the public hearing on this, and we will vote on this in 2 weeks. So when we come back to the end of the month is when we'll actually be voting up or down on this. With that, that closes that conditional use permit. We'll move on to public comments. Public comments are generally listed to 3 for, 3 against. You have 3 minutes in which to speak, which is on that timer in front of Mr. Swanson. When the 3 minutes goes off, I will thank you for your time, and we will move on to the next speaker. And no, you do not get 301, 302, 304 at 3 minutes. Please wrap up and have a seat. With that, we'll start with our first speaker.
Regarding Bill 5366, Jomo Castro.
You don't have to be sworn in. We're good to go.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's great to be here with you all today. Really, I'm here tonight just to learn more about 5366. This was, we saw the bill come through, and we want to understand more about it. I'm trying to understand what problem the bill is trying to solve is kind of my front and center question. But really, as we read through it, and we're still going through it. A few concerns did arise. So one, it's clearly more restrictive. And in requiring a conditional use permit for all telecom facilities. So we're trying to understand what's the motive, why are we being more restrictive on the telecom facilities? And we want to also make sure that these are in reference to the wireless towers specifically. I think that's what this bill is all about. But we want to make sure that it's not confused with our wireline facilities, which can be in the ground and can include our fiber service and also our voice over IP. Where it says, it talks about restricting the telecom antennas from extending beyond 5 feet above the existing structure. Many, if not all of our antennas are larger than 5 feet high. They're typically 8 feet, so that's an immediate concern. There's also a requirement for the antennas to be painted or textured to match the existing structure. Just generally, we see there's a theme around stealth, being stealthy with the antennas. Generally, we don't have an issue with that, but we do think there could be some more definition around that. What is textured? And we also think that there should be a little more leeway in kind of what that entails. Sometimes we think we want a stealth structure, but at times a stealth structure can actually stand out more than a traditional tower. So again, we think there could be some room there. In terms of we also want to make sure that everything aligns with the state Senate bill on tower locations. We think that requirement for towers to be 1 mile apart is in conflict. And then just, again, what the towers are, right? Like, on top of a building, we'll typically put 3 antennas, and for coverage. And we want to make sure those 3 antennas are not considered towers, quote unquote, because again, we only have 1 tower.
I appreciate your time. If we have questions when we get to that bill, we may bring you back up.
Sounds good. All right, I appreciate your time, Council. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Andy McKeon, regarding America 250 Missouri.
Good evening. My name is Andy McKeon. I'm a member of the St. Charles Rotary Club, First Capital Lions Club, and the St. Charles Kiwanis Club. And I'm here to get the support of the County Council for the celebration of the birth of our nation. Next year is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So I dropped off on each of your desks a resolution, a sample resolution. We don't have one for Missouri, but I gave you one for North Carolina. We're asking you to pass a resolution. Also, if each member, if you decide to back this celebration, is to find someone in your district that you could recruit to be on a steering committee to represent the council. So I have someone from all 7 council members. I'm trying to set up a committee of about 15 people. We'll probably meet monthly. I was talking to Mr. Swanson before. He says he's testing his kids tomorrow in his 8th grade middle school class, and afterwards he's going to ask them to go home and survey them of what they want to do to celebrate. So we got an active guy already wanting to engage his kids, and that's one of the things I want to do, engage all of us. I talked to the chief of police, I talked to the sheriffs just before the meeting, so I have their cards. We want to get everyone involved. And I'd like to make St. Charles County the model county for the state of Missouri and maybe for the country. It's open-ended. There's nothing specific that we can do to celebrate it. So my hope is to get as much out to everyone in the county through whatever mechanism, through faith-based communities, through the anyone that you know, and find out what people would like to do to celebrate the birth of our nation. It's 250 years, and I think the reason I'm so gung-ho on this is I believe patriotism is important, the love of country. I love this country. I know almost everyone, if not everyone in this room, loves our country. So we really need to celebrate, and this could reunite us. I think President Trump has has a White House task force that he set up, leaders of the administration. There's a commission here in Missouri that hasn't met yet, but there's a list of commission members that I gave you. So I'm almost finished. I won't take the whole time, but I hope you'll endorse this and actively participate in it. And if you have any suggestions, you have my card on what I sent out, and I'd love to hear from you, because I think we can have a tremendous celebration. We have, 440,000 people in our county? Wouldn't it be nice to get everyone involved? It would be fun. Thank you.
Thank you. With the 2 history, social studies teachers up here, I'm sure we can find some folks who are interested in that one. Next speaker, please.
Arnie Dienoff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate. First issue I'd like to hit off on is I'd like to have a discussion and a debate of bringing in-house and saving 30 to 40% of inflated cost of our fleet maintenance, our fleet repairs, etc. All the municipalities in St. Charles County currently do that with all their vehicles. Saves a great amount of money to taxpayers, and I think we need to have that discussion about bringing fleet in-house and creating our own fleet department. When it comes to engineering design, also, we have so many engineers on staff that could help out in bridge design. $315,000 on tonight's agenda just for design only. I think we could hire an engineer for around $80,000 to $100,000 and get our designs satisfied. Gudermuth Road Phase 3, $225,000 in a change. Are they now go from the lowest bidder to the worst bidder and the most expensive bidder is my thought. The county registrar, record destruction request from the register, record destruction request for the finance director, and I think he wants to destroy audits, and that really puts up a red flag of why you'd want to destroy audits and historical data. So I'd like to make a public information request under Chapter 610.022, 610.023 to look at those materials before they're destroyed and to make sure that we're not destroying any history of our county and we're not destroying audits that the public should have access to. Vacating an unused portion of a road by Pruitt Creek. I'm opposed to that legislation. If we give away land, we're going to have to possibly buy it in the future, and it's going to cost us a lot more than we currently paid for it years and years ago. Again, I'm making a Chapter 610.022, 610.023 public information request for $250,000 worth of lobbyists in Jefferson City. I'd like to see the communication and emails. I've talked to many of you about that, and I thought we had that solved, but yet I get a letter from Mr. O'Sullivan about 3 weeks ago saying there's no such documents. So you got to be kidding me. We're paying these people lodging and food and expenses and their salaries because they're buddies of Steve Ellman's from the state Senate, but we're getting nothing in return? That's ludicrous, and taxpayers deserve more. When it comes to the law enforcement center issue in O'Fallon, I have some problems with it because it's being built in a floodplain. They went to the Planning and Zoning Commission and got approved for Phase 2, which now goes on to the City Council. They're going to be building a drive evac course, a shooting house, canine area, fleet
Thank you,
garage,
Mr. Dinoff.
education
We
building.
appreciate your time. Next
academy.
speaker, please.
It's the final speaker.
All right, thank you. With that, we move on to the oral report from the county executive.
Not this evening.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to the consent agenda. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda tonight? Yes, Mr. Baker?
Yes, I have three.
Okay.
The concrete removal and replacement contract with M&H.
The,
You see that one?
where's it at?
It's
Halfway down, 2025 concrete.
2025.
Gotcha, concrete
okay.
removal.
The police department roof repair and replacement,
Okay.
and then the change order on Gudermouth.
Change order computer.
It's on the back page.
Gotcha. Anything else to be removed?
Motion to accept the remaining consent agenda.
Hold a second. Do I have a second on Mr. Baker's?
Second. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, Mr.
I will have
Holliday.
a motion to pass the remainder of the consent agenda.
Motion and second. All those approved say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Mr. Baker, the floor is yours. You want to start with the concrete removal first?
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry, yes.
that one roof issue, we talked to, I think we
So
talked
that
about
that was removed.
It's already been removed. Is this a different thing or the same thing?
It's removed. It's not tabled yet.
Oh, okay, but
It has been removed for discussion.
I thought we'd asked for it to be tabled. You will have to do that.
We'll table
Okay,
it.
that's fine.
So,
Do you want to, were you going to talk about
I was
that?
gonna table the roof one.
All right, can you make a motion to table that when we'll be done with it?
I'll make a motion to table the roof repairs.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I know Mr. Brazel had some issues about that he wanted to discuss, so administration had already talked with him about it. Back to concrete removal.
Concrete replacement. I know, John, you're here. You've done a great job, and my only question is, can we get a list of what streets? And I think that would be beneficial to all the council members up here. Do you have the list of streets, or you just have quantities?
I just have quantities right now.
That was included.
We can get.
We got an email from Claire on that.
That was for the slab replacements that you have planned for so far in 2025, correct? That's
It's
the,
not part of this, though,
no, but that, you were asking about,
this. What's included in this? What
So
streets?
the list you guys got that you asked for, was that for just one project or all of them?
that was for the $3 million.
I don't remember getting that email.
And unless I'm wrong, wasn't that what you sent us?
Yeah, part of the packet. It was part of the packet.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it has a,
I
so,
didn't see that, so.
so there's a list in there, and Claire has it that's done as an Excel that shows you every street that's listed, and it shows you,
well,
it
it
shows
doesn't
you
list the
quantity,
districts.
doesn't it? Or subdivision, it shows.
It's on page
It
535.
may be by
It doesn't list the district, so that is,
It doesn't list the district, it lists the development, like Steeplechase has got all the roads in there of what's gonna be.
I just want, I don't have, obviously, love, I mean, like I said, we've done a great job with slab replacement. I can drive around my district and see a lot of huge improvements. I was just wanting to know what streets we're actually getting this done.
Gotcha.
And if you've got that, if it's in Excel, maybe we can turn on what districts, so I know which ones are in mine, so I can forward it to the HOAs and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely have a list. I don't know if the Excel spreadsheet has the district in it or not.
It didn't on what we got sent today.
I have a feeling if it had anything in it, it would have our maintenance districts, which don't necessarily correspond with your districts, but.
All right, well, we could talk offline about that one, but I mean, I don't have any problem with the contract, but the one with the change.
Hold on, can we make a motion
Yeah.
to approve that then?
Let's do it. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? It passes. Next one, sorry.
Okay, the change order. Now, who was the engineer that did the design on this? Do you know?
Oh, I'd have to
And if
look.
you say Great Rivers Greenway, we're gonna have a problem.
I honestly don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay, I mean, we just started the job and they're already, what quantities did they go over already?
So this kind of goes back a little bit of history on the project. We had originally bid it out and it came in substantially over budget. I can't remember how many millions of dollars, but it was a lot. And so we went through a redesign and got that cost down within the budget that we were originally shooting for. So that caused the delay. In that delay, I don't know if you've driven Gudermuth lately, but there's
Every
a
day.
subdivision being developed out there.
Yeah.
So the original timeline, I guess, that was on, we were going to be ahead of the subdivision development. And so some of the access issues that we have now, we wouldn't have had then. In the meantime, subdivision development caught up with the road project, and now we have to provide access, additional pavement, temporary pavement. That's part of the change order that we wouldn't have had to originally. So that was just kind of an unforeseen cost that came with the project being delayed while we redesigned it to get our costs down originally. Now, the other part of the change order is also we've just ran into unsuitable materials when we were constructing the culverts.
The soil?
Yep. So then there's extra excavation, extra bedding material.
Okay, I mean, we're already, we're not even, 20% done with this job yet? And
Right.
we're already looking at a quantity change order, so I'm hoping that we don't get any more of these, but I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve, so.
Second. Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes. That concludes our consent agenda for tonight. That'll move us up to Resolution 25-01.
Resolution number 25-01, sponsored by Matt Swanson, Mike Elam, Dave Hammond, and Terry Hollander. A resolution encouraging contractors who desire to bid on county contracts for construction, repair, and maintenance projects to, in addition to the county's current competitive purchasing requirements, provide additional certifications to demonstrate that they are focused on employee success and well-being.
Any questions or comments about this resolution?
Yeah, what prompted this?
Mr. Swanson, do you want to kick that off?
Well, a lot of it is, I think, focusing on our local workforce development and making sure we have skilled labor doing what needs to happen. And I want to make sure that when we're spending our taxpayer dollars, we have the most qualified individuals doing the work versus people who maybe have not gone through the correct training needed through apprenticeship programs or through other avenues. And that's what I'm looking at, because as you just brought up, I don't like redoing things over and over again. Let's do it right the first time, and that's having very skilled laborers do it right the first time.
Okay, I was just curious.
There was another part that, so a couple years ago, we had, when Dr. DeBray was still superintendent at Fort Zumwalt, they kicked off a apprenticeship program through the high school there at Zumwalt. And it was district-wide through them. And it ended up getting a national recognition. The school district won an award for that. And now that same apprenticeship program that Mr. Swanson was talking about is now throughout all the school districts in St. Charles County. Mr. Elman and I were just at a public policy meeting with St. Charles Chamber on Friday, and they were even talking about the expansion that they've done of that. So one of the things we wanted to do was encourage the folks who were doing work for the county to have a Department of Labor certified apprenticeship program that more people can get involved in. So we're just thinking the more folks that can get involved, the more that they can learn about it, we can bring them along, and we have a very good qualified workforce. The other part that got added into this, and this was a big deal with Governor Parson, Governor Kehoe has continued with that in trying to support veteran-owned businesses and disabled veteran-owned businesses. So that was another part that we were adding in that. I'm really hoping, being that this is a resolution, we're going to be able to work through with our purchasing department to find out, this is not an ordinance, it is a resolution, to make sure that we're not causing any problems. So we're hoping to work through with them to see if there's any type of bumps in the road that we may not have foreseen that we've put into this yet. And does there need to be changes before something like this would be an ordinance? So Right now, it's just a resolution, encouraging those things to really be looked at so we can do the veterans part and the apprenticeship part. Any other comments about it? With that, I would ask you to call the roll.
Resolution number 25-01, a resolution encouraging contractors who desire to bid on county contracts for construction, repair, and maintenance projects to, in addition to the county's current competitive purchasing requirements, provide additional certifications to demonstrate that they are focused on employee success and well-being. Councilman Brazel? Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilwoman York? Councilwoman York? Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes, ma'am.
Resolution passes. Thank you very much. That brings us to bills for final passage. Bill number 5364.
Bill number 5364, an ordinance vacating an unused portion of Newstetter Road lying south from its intersection with Peruke Creek Road to the south line of the northeast quarter of Section 10, Township 47 North, Range 3 East, pursuant to Section 228.110 Revised Statutes of Missouri.
Any questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5364, an ordinance vacating an unused portion of Newstetter Road lying south from its intersection with Peruke Creek Road to the south line of the northeast quarter of Section 10, Township 47 North, Range 3 East, pursuant to Section 228.110 Revised Statutes of Missouri. Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilwoman York?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Bill number 5364 passes. That wraps up bills for final passage. On to bills for introduction. 5366.
Bill number 5366, requested by Tim Baker, sponsored by Tim Baker and Patty York. An ordinance amending sections 405.505, 405.090, 405.095, 405.100, 405.105, 405.125, 405.130, 405.135, 405.155, and 405.170 OSCCMO, Unified Development Ordinance of St. Charles County, Missouri, zoning regulations.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I wanted to address the gentleman's questions that he had. The reason for this ordinance, in my opinion, is why I worked on it, is we've got an area in my district where there's plans for a cell tower, which is fine, but it's all in a residential area. We don't have, there's not a lot of commercial zoning nearby. So what the applicant has tried to do is rezone the property as commercial, which if we look at cell tower and the technology, and Mike, you can maybe fiber, in 100 years from now, cell towers are no longer used. We've got this commercial property in the middle of a residential area, and it's a mess. I mean, then people can, you know, try to put in a small, I don't know, gas station or something in an area that wasn't the purpose of why we rezoned it. I mean, we're rezoning it for a cell tower. So I don't know if this restricts it any more or less, in my opinion. It's just a matter of semantics of when the cell tower and technology has changed, we don't have a property rezoned, and now we're left to deal with it. So, yeah, I don't know if Rory, you want any comments on it, or?
My understanding, very briefly, is that what this does is that whereas typically speaking in a residential area you can't have a cell tower, this would now allow a cell tower with a conditional use permit. So arguably it makes it a possibility of having a cell tower in a residential area as opposed to the current ordinance. Just to address one other thing, the gentleman said that, you know, the texturing and the painting, as well as there was another thing that he said about, I think it was related to the, what was his name?
We had wireline facilities, talking about antenna height, tower distance in between the two.
And so the antenna height of 5 feet, the texturing, the painting, that's actually not changing. That's just what it says in the current ordinance. So
Okay.
if you read our ordinances, when we put in these changes, if the wording is in bold, it means we're adding it. If it is stricken, then it means that we're deleting it. And so if it just looks like regular text, then that's exactly what it is in the current ordinance. So
The one question that I had that he brought up was, are we sure that we're in compliance with state statute?
Well, we're absolutely in compliance with state statute. I believe the gentleman said that there was a Senate bill. I'm not sure what Senate bill he's referring to, but a Senate bill is not law.
Okay. So, do you want to come up for a second, Joe? So, were you talking about something that's currently passed or something that's pending?
No, I was talking about current state statute. So, you know, I probably misspoke. And I can get the exact statute, but, and I don't have the details. We were just going at it at a glance, so we just want to make sure it's in complete compliance with current state law.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Jones. Yes, sir.
What about, is it, I assume it's in compliance with federal law. I mean, that's been the real problem for us with the cell towers, right?
Right.
This isn't gonna
Right.
screw that up.
Right.
And
Okay.
and it's basically, it doesn't affect your business until you leave, and then it says what's gonna happen to it if you ever abandon it as that use.
No, that explanation was helpful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any other questions about this bill? Seeing none, that will conclude our bills for introduction, which brings us up to tabled bills. Mr. Hammond, welcome back.
Thank you.
I hope you're all rested and relaxed
Yeah.
from Florida.
Yes, I am.
Councilwoman York is finishing up your time in the Sunshine State for us, so we have our quota.
Enjoying every minute of it.
As well you should. I have asked Mr. Hammond if we could leave this bill tabled. I know they were working on a substitute. I know he's been working with administration on trying to come up with something, but I ask administration to work with our Human Resources Department to look at, are there any other positions that we were considering adjusting anyway? And if we do, in working with Samantha, find those, identify those positions, can we just roll that all into one bill and get them all done at one time? Quite frankly, I don't want to get back into going through these piecemealed one at a time. So if there's something that we do want to roll in that we can do at one time, I'd like to go ahead and do it and get it done, as opposed to coming back with that. So I know what we're trying to do, and hopefully we can work with administration this year to get the council's input a little earlier into the budget process, so we can let the administration know exactly what we want as a council to say, hey, it's important for us to have our employees at certain pay ranges and at certain levels. I know HR is trying to do competitive analysis. How often do we roll a different area every year?
Yes.
Okay, so there's
it's not
different sections that are on a 3-year rolling average, right?
Law enforcement and the dispatchers are studied every year. So sheriff, a good portion of corrections, PD, they're studied every year along with the dispatchers. Everybody else is on a 3-year schedule unless we see a big market change in a particular area. So there's never more than 2 years between when we're looking at where an employee is compared to the marketplace. That's the worst case scenario, is 2 years have gone by.
Okay.
Because then everybody's in one of the 3 years.
Awesome. So if there has been a change in the marketplace, then we have that opportunity to add it and be looked at and things like that. But I know administration asked us, before Mr. Baker and Mr. Swanson were on the council, they came to us a few years ago and said, how do you want to prioritize? And the council said back then we wanted to make sure that we had raises for our employees. And that was our first priority. And administration's been great at trying to make sure that's the first thing that we take up when we go through budget. So I appreciate you working with HR, getting that looked at, and then hopefully we'll bring a substitute back in the next meeting, and we can vote on that. Fair enough?
It may take us about 2 weeks. I found out from HR today after you and I spoke last week that we're looking at 6 positions and we're asking the surrounding cities for information on those. I don't know how long it'll take us to, but they're usually pretty prompt.
Okay.
Worst case, it would be the meeting after that, I think.
Great. Thank you. So that takes care of table bills. We're up to announcements and miscellaneous. I figured one of my history teachers would want to talk about the 250th birthday of the country.
No, I was going to say I'm still using a box of Kleenexes after yesterday's game. Still sad. I kind of feel like the British after losing the war for independence.
Well, it sure seemed like somebody got run over yesterday. That's for sure. Anything else for the greater good? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. We are adjourned.
Second.
Second.
Yay.